Over the last 50 years, one measure of male health has quietly fallen by half. It is sperm count. And a landmark analysis says the drop is real and accelerating. But a population trend is not a personal verdict, and the real story is more nuanced. This is what the evidence actually says about falling sperm counts. No panic, no hype. Just numbers from the World Health Organization, the NHS, and peer-reviewed research. First, what are we even measuring? A semen sample is examined in a laboratory. Technicians check how concentrated the sperm are, how many there are, and how well they move. In 2021, the World Health Organization published updated reference limits for a healthy sample. The lower limit for concentration is 16 million sperm per milliliter. For the whole ejaculate, the lower limit is 39 million sperm in total. At least 42% should be moving, and 30% moving forward. And about 4% should have a normal shape. These are lower limits, not targets. Here is the crucial detail almost everyone misses about those figures. They come from around 3,500 men whose partners conceived naturally within a year. The limit is the 5th centile of that fertile group. A statistical benchmark, not a pass or fail line. One result below it does not mean you are infertile. It is far from that. Sperm quality swings a lot, so a single low reading is usually just repeated later. So where does the falling by half figure come from? One very large study. In 2022, researchers led by Levine published a huge analysis in a leading journal. They pooled 223 studies and nearly 300 separate estimates. The samples were collected between 1973 and 2018, from men across the world. Between those years, average sperm concentration fell by about 52%. Total sperm count, the bigger picture number, fell by around 62%. That is roughly a halving of concentration over about 5 decades. Two things made this analysis land harder than the ones before it. First, the decline was no longer just a wealthy Western world story. It now appeared among men in South America, Asia, and Africa too. Second, the fall seemed to be getting steeper, not leveling off. Before the year 2000, concentration dropped about 1% a year. After 2000, that rate more than doubled, to over 2.5% a year. Now for the part the headlines usually leave out. This is genuinely contested. Many reproductive scientists are not convinced the decline is as clean as it sounds. Older samples were counted with cruder methods, and laboratory techniques changed over the decades. Early studies leaned heavily on Western men, so the global picture stays patchy. And in 2024, one analysis found concentration stable among fertile American men over time. So the trend is taken seriously, but calling it a crisis is still debated. There is also a deeper point about what a sperm count even tells us. Concentration alone is a weak predictor of whether a couple will conceive. What matters more is the total number of moving sperm in the whole sample. A man well below a reference limit can still father children naturally. And a man with textbook numbers can still struggle. Biology is rarely tidy. If counts are truly falling, the honest answer on why is we do not fully know. But the evidence points at how modern life meets the developing body. Smoking is one of the clearest. Male smokers can have notably lower concentration. Carrying excess weight shifts hormones and lowers count, quality, and testosterone. The testicles sit outside the body for a reason. They work best slightly cool. Frequent heat, from hot tubs to a laptop on the lap, can lower production. Heavy drinking, some recreational drugs, and chronic stress are all linked to poorer samples. Then there are the chemicals researchers worry about most, the endocrine disruptors. These include phthalates and bisphenols, found in some plastics and everyday products. They can mimic or block hormones, and studies link them to poorer sperm quality. The concern is exposure in the womb, when the reproductive system is being built. This is an active research field, not a settled verdict. But it is taken seriously. Here is the reassuring biology. The body makes fresh sperm constantly. A full production cycle takes roughly 2 to 3 months from start to finish. So changes you make today can show up in a sample within about 3 months. Stopping smoking, losing excess weight and cutting heavy drinking can measurably help. None of this is a guarantee, but the levers are real and often within your control. So what does all of this mean for you? A few clear things. 1. A falling population average does not decide your individual fertility. 2. A single low result is common and rarely the final word. 3. If you are trying for a baby, the timeline genuinely matters. The NHS suggests seeing a doctor after a year of trying without success. Sooner if the female partner is over 36, or either of you has a known issue. One last thing. This is general education, not medical advice, and I am not your doctor. Any concern about fertility belongs with a clinician who can actually test and examine. Every number here is sourced in the description. Go and check them yourself. Follow for evidence-based health explained. A new video every day.